Hey guys, welcome. One Life Podcast here with Mychal. The reason why I've got Mychal here is I admire him for many reasons. He's very positive mindset. He's very good shape. He's 33. He looks the way he does. He's got high energy. He loves helping others. It's a pleasure to have you here, and I just want to pick your brain.
All right. Appreciate that. Yeah, as he said, I'm Mike. I'm a video content coach. You can find me at Social Media Filmmaker, where we help coaches, we help experts, and we also help anyone who just wants to gain influence and authority using video content.
So, the first thing I want to ask you is, you've got such a positive mindset. Where does that come from?
So I don't know how a lot of your viewers are. I don't know what kind of like space we are here, but for me, a lot of my positivity comes from just my faith,
Okay.
from who I believe and all that kind of stuff. Not to kind of dive into it too much, but the way that I was raised is just that you treat people the way that you want to be treated.
Absolutely right.
And the way that I kind of saw things through a lot of the cartoons that I watched growing up, through a lot of the shows that I watched growing up, was there was always someone who was seeing something that they were struggling with, and they saw someone else that seemed to be like a hero or someone that they looked up to. And they're like, wow, how do I get to that point, And they would go about the hard path of taking things little by little, day by day, and progressing to a point. You got to see that journey. And through seeing cartoons and videos like that, it kind of inspired me to kind of stick it to myself to be a better person, to take on those morals or those slogans that these characters would put on themselves to be a better person, to help those weaker than themselves, and to, just to encourage anyone that they can throughout the day.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's really interesting. You're born in the States?
I was actually born in Texas, Abilene, Texas. My dad was Air Force, so we moved around a
Gotcha.
lot. So I never really grew up in Texas, but that's where I was born.
And your parents are born where?
Both my parents are Jamaican.
They're Jamaican. Do you feel like I don't know too much about Jamaica, but do you feel like you've got a better perspective and a better outlook your parents being immigrants and coming in?
I would say that I have a unique perspective because of not only the fact that my parents are foreigners, but the fact that my dad was in the Air Force.
What do you mean by that?
Because with a military family, we move around a lot.
Yeah.
So we get to see different parts of the world, not just the United States.
Gotcha.
So
did you move around a lot?
we did. We
Okay.
actually were overseas, Germany, France, England.
So you got okay, and that's what that's what they say traveling does. Give you a really good perspective, appreciation on, especially living in America.
Yeah.
So you feel like that's got a lot to do with positivity.
I would say I got to see different cultures and experience different ways of living, and seeing different places just kind of broadened my imagination because a lot of it happened when I was a child.
Okay.
I moved over into the States and actually started living primarily for the majority of my life after the age of 6. But I
Yeah.
still remember a lot of
Really?
being in Germany
Okay.
and being overseas. I can still look back in my mind right now and still picture things, and I still remember some of the German phrases that we used to
Really?
say.
Even from under 6.
Yeah. Guten Tag.
Is there anything you feel like your parents as immigrants have kind of taught you, has like kind of stuck with you? Like coming from is Jamaica like, is it more of a poor? Is it obviously harder conditions than America, but is it really bad? Is it in between? Is it?
I'm not sure how it is today because I actually haven't been keeping up with the country, but I do know from when I do remember from visiting, my parents, they grew up in a place called Waterhouse, which is located in Kingston,
Okay.
which is like the capital of Jamaica.
Okay.
And dead center, I would say like it's a lot of dirt roads. I mean, back then it was a lot of dirt roads from where they lived, where they grew up. They had dirt flooring in the house.
Oh, really? Okay.
My mom grew up with 7 siblings in like a home probably no bigger than 3 times this room.
Really? And that's probably what, 6x6, 7x7. Gotcha.
They had a little outside area with some chickens and some dogs
Okay.
that would come and go and stuff, but nothing like you would see in the States.
So they didn't have it too easy, by the sounds.
They didn't have it
Yeah.
easy at all.
No.
One pair of shoes, one pair of pants,
Oh, wow, okay.
one shirt. You know what I'm
So
saying?
what have they kind of like reinforced that that was so hard for them and to appreciate things, and you think that's what's helped with the way you are today? Or is it just, what is it exactly you think it came from them?
I guess I would say that like my parents kind of instilled a value system of you live within your means.
Okay.
They kind of had more of a structured system of you work for the food that you eat. You work for the food that you eat. You don't get like anything for free. By the sweat of your brow, you'll eat bread. Like that's one verse from the Bible my dad always used to quote all the time.
Okay.
And I'm not sure where that's from, but he would always be like, you have to be the harder working person no matter where you go all the time. And not just because of where we're from, but, in America, they have the stigmatism of being different races and all that kind of stuff. People still have an issue with that, obviously.
Yeah, obviously.
So he always instilled with me that always just be bigger than the other person. And always be the leader if you can. Or follow, but if you do follow, make sure you're following because you want to follow. And not because you're being forced to follow. So he instilled a lot of leadership thought processes in me, which I didn't really understand at the time. I always knew that I had to think about things before I did them.
So you kind of planted little seeds.
Which
have blossomed into the man you are today.
Well, it kind of did a disservice while I was a kid though, because I was always think of ways to like put off homework longer or to do things that I wanted to do. And it's one of those things where I was just like, okay, like there's different ways to make money, and one of the ways that I was always thinking of ways like how I can get something faster. I was very impatient with like whenever I had a goal or if I like wanted to do something, and I was finding a way to like, how could I make some more extra money? And I saw that like all these kids all the time after lunch when we got back to class, they would always be like, oh man, I'm still hungry, I want to get something else. Or they'd go around and ask other people for food and stuff that off their trays and stuff. And I just thought, like, what if I just had like some candy, like chocolate and stuff? I started hustling chocolate from the general store, the dollar store. I would go to the dollar store and get these packets, like these little like fun-sized like Snicker bars and Reese cups, and then I would take them. I would buy like a pack of 10 for $1, and I go to school and I'd sell each individual one for $0.25.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. And the kid's just like, is this 50 cents? Or I get like a half a Snicker bar. Yeah. To me, I'm like making like instant like profit just by selling 4 of those out of the 10.
Just meeting a need.
Yeah, which is.
But they say like a lot of books I've read, a lot of successful people have started hustling as a kid. They've had some little side hustle, and that's just another example of Mark Cuban selling trash bags. Like there's plenty of stories of kids selling candy at school. Like so you're one of those kids.
I guess so.
So you could have a big future coming.
Yeah, I mean, I do. I have a lot of things that I'm working on right now that I'm not sure. It's crazy because this right here, what we're doing right here is like a start of something for me, because I've been wanting to do more talks and more things like this in general, and
that's the reason behind this too.
And it's the reason why I'm still in Vegas as opposed to where like a lot of my old friends and family where I graduated high school in Dayton, Ohio, instead of being there, because that's more of like a closed community. Like
a nicer place to live, but not as functional as this could be, right? Hence, what we do is being videographers is the best place one of the best places to do this, right? Gotcha.
It's a sacrifice. Investing in something like this, which is still so new in this world, because there's no real institution that guarantees a job doing online anything.
Or anything in general.
Right. Well, they guarantee work. From colleges say that they'll get you a job, right? Institutions say that they're helping you to get a job, right? But they don't really get you jobs for this time period. It's more focused on a workforce or a turnkey system where you're just another cog in that machine. It's not about innovation. It's not about entrepreneurship, where you actually can take the responsibility on yourself and become and do what you want and build what you see in your head. So one of those things that I am trying to encompass more with these engagements like this is being able to just voice out what it is that I'm doing, because I know what I'm doing, but you don't know what I'm doing. You don't know what I'm doing. So I thank you for the opportunity, because what I'm trying to grow now is I'm trying to build an online Hollywood. And I know a lot of people probably see different things in their head when that comes to that. But I want,
your mind starts flicking through.
you start going like all crazy kind of things, like what. But the way I look at it is from like an agency point of view. Like if you are the middle person, which is an agency, and you are linking actors, models to businesses so that they can advertise to that target, which is usually you're watching this, so you're a target of viewing things. I would be that person for influencers and online models, or online, people who are trying to grow influencers. And I would then be that middle person for businesses, but not like corporate sized businesses, more like individual businesses, like small mom and pops, like you guys who have the brick and mortar store on the side of the road, or
People
something
trying to
like
build
that.
brands,
Right. And you're just trying to connect with people who have the similar message as you, but can communicate your product or your service because it's something that, in holds those values.
And even understanding that you as a person are a brand, right? Donald Trump is a brand. Gary Vee is a brand. That name is a brand.
Yes.
Yeah, you are a brand. And
Yes.
understanding the importance of knowing that you're a brand, and then taking what you're trying to do, and that's implementing you as a brand, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of people don't understand that they are a brand.
Yeah.
When you go to work...
It's a weird thought.
Exactly. When you go and you do an interview, and you're talking to whomever is giving you that interview, you show up in a form that shows who you are. Whether you go and you don't care, you're showing that you don't care. If you go and you prep and you took time to learn the company, to know what you're going to go in there for, to kind of practice some questions, to work on your voice tonality, to have a good image. Social media is you on the internet. It's you representing who you are. And for me to kind of understand that as it's been growing, and kind of encapitalizing that in my real day-to-day life, in person, off the internet, and then realizing that, wow, like, we can reflect the good things of us, but being able to connect with other people by showing our weaknesses, showing those things that, you usually don't show in an interview and stuff, that's a whole nother side of branding that a lot of people don't understand.
Yeah, showing the, like documenting, you're not creating, or showing
the growth.
Showing your vulnerability, showing that you are human, you are relatable. Because I feel like social media, it's all polished, and the pretty girlfriend, the money, the nice car, but people don't show the struggles. People don't show a lot of relationships fall apart. People aren't showing the worst side of things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
but that's the stuff. That's the stuff that connects people
that's
to
humility.
you. That's what everyone can really relate to.
And that's so important.
Yes.
But it also takes a certain type of person, a certain type of mindset to be able to step back and make yourself vulnerable. Lewis House is perfect. He talks about that, right?
Yeah.
He got abused as a child, and he's very public about it. And
Yeah.
I feel like that really helped him connect with the audience and show humility. And people really know him for who he is inside, more than a podcaster and an author. You know what I mean?
Yes, I do.
It's very interesting.
Yeah, and that's a great example, because I actually met Lewis Howes in California a couple years ago when I first moved here to Vegas. I went to one of his book reveals.
Okay.
When he first came out with his book, School of Greatness.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, was it called School of Greatness or How to Be Great and something like that?
Gotcha.
I forget something great.
What's he like? Because
he's tall. He's definitely tall.
From what I see, he seems like a very genuine, humble.
Oh, yeah.
Just like kind of you and I, right?
Yeah,
He just seems very easygoing.
He is. He's actually real easy to talk to and real easygoing.
But why do you know that? It's from social and vulnerability and putting himself out there and constantly being present and constantly putting media out there. It's basically what you're telling everybody else to do.
Yeah, and you can feel that. You can sense that. It's not something that he has to, portray or put into or act or fake. It's real, and you can really connect with people that way. And a lot of the times it keeps people back from being real and honestly putting their best foot forward is the fact that they're nervous in front of a camera, you know?
Yeah, and you really can't be these days. Dan Penner, one of the guys I look up to, the sooner you stop caring about other people's opinions, the sooner you start succeeding.
Mm-hmm.
You don't care about other people's opinions. I don't care about other people's opinions. That's why people are watching us right now and we're not watching them. And I don't mean that rude, disrespectful bit.
I have to stop you there because I actually do care about people's opinions, but I don't let it affect me and stop me and slow me down.
Yeah, that's a good way. I like that.
Because I do respect.
And you're talking about negative opinions.
Well, yeah, negative opinions, I don't care. Like negative stuff, if you're just that says something about you as a person, I think. If you can not say something that's either going to be constructive, you know, but you're just going to say it just to like punch them in the face for no reason, especially if you don't know the person.
Yeah.
That to me has no merit at all. Like I don't understand that. You don't need to do that.
There's a thing Ty Lopez says. He goes, if you've taken the time out of your day to press dislike on a video, you got to find better things. You got to find better things to do.
Right,
and it's funny, I've never disliked a video because I've seen that.
That's very interesting.
I'm like, yeah, I hate what that person said, but really, is it worth my while to try to bring this person down? It's not.
I think the only time I've ever disliked a video is when the information I knew that I heard was wrong. Or I didn't like what was happening in the video, and this person was either using it for the wrong reason or something like that. And I'm just like, I'm not okay with this, you know? Those are the only times.
I wanted to talk. One thing I really admire about you is you self-educate a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You read a lot of books. You consume a lot of content. You watch podcasts. What's the reason behind that? What's the driver? What motivates you to do that?
No one's ever shown me how to do something until I've went through the pain of figuring out that I need to make it happen myself.
And that I feel like that goes back to like the rich stay rich because the grandparents taught the parents taught the children, and it kind of stays in the generation.
Mm-hmm.
And I was having this conversation the other day, and I feel like it's the same thing with health. If you're born in an unhealthy family, chances are you're probably going to be unhealthy. You're probably going to be overweight. Chances are you might get diabetes because no one's ever taught you any different. And it takes a certain type of mindset, and it takes a certain type of person to go out and read that business book, or read that book on money, or read that book on health to change that pattern. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of what you're getting at, I'm thinking. Yeah.
It definitely was a pattern change, a pattern shift. And I know my dad had to go through that as well because he grew up in he grew up as I would say he was like the male version of the Cinderella story.
What do you mean by that?
So if you know Cinderella, she was kind of like adopted by her stepmom and her stepsisters. So my dad kind of had that kind of situation where he was adopted by his aunt and his cousins. Okay. And so he never really grew up with his mom and his dad. That's a whole nother story. It's rough. And he grew up just having to kind of be responsible for himself. Very rough kind of childhood, yet still made it somehow to America. Okay. Joined the military, and he's pretty much been the spearhead of both sides of my family to immigrating a lot of our family into the U.S. Okay. So he's kind of like completely successful from his point of view. You know what I'm saying? Coming from dirt, nothing, different country. Now you own your own house. You've helped others get houses. Yeah. And he's flipping cars just in his free time as he's retired.
Is he happy?
He's retired, doing what he likes to do, plays soccer when he likes to play soccer. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So I just want to touch on that too. Is everyone's opinion of happiness is you got to have $1 million in the bank. Yeah. And I remember it was Gary Vee, and he's like, if you make $50,000 a year and you take your kids to soccer on the weekend and you're happy, who is anybody to tell you any different? Right. You work a regular job, you got a boss, but you love what you do. Who's anyone else to tell you any different? Yeah. And if that's happiness for your dad or that's happiness for you, that's what it is, right? Yeah. And you need to work out what it is that makes you happy, what it makes it tick, what makes you get up in the morning and be excited. Absolutely. Because 80% of us hate what we do for a living, and we're just going through the motion, and we're wishing away the time, and I find that's the most saddest thing in the world. It's so disappointing.
It is. It is.
What is, from reading and learning, what is some of the things that have stuck with you the most? Like, what's something you've read, you're like, oh, just like a life changer?
Nothing. You have to constantly... Routine. I would say it's routine. If I have to put it in one word, it would be routine. You have to have a routine, and it has to be daily, it has to be weekly, and it has to be monthly.
You mean routine towards success, or just getting things done, or
All of
accomplishing
it.
goals?
All
Okay.
of it. Like
So
you
like
have
structure and routine.
right, and you got to build on top of that routine. So you start off with a block of wood. Everyone starts with a block of wood. You're that block of wood. You chisel it every day, little by little by little. If you take it all at one time, your arm's going to get tired, your fingers are going to fatigue, all that kind of stuff, right? And you don't even know what you're really making yet. You're trying to figure it out. You go at it little by little, and you start chiseling. You start getting inspired by different things. You go to different places. You get information from other places, and you start chiseling it into something that's going to be forming into something that you might think, oh, I could use this, or I can make this into a gift, depending on what's in your heart, right? So you're forming towards that destination. As you start getting a hold of what it is that you really want to do, you start getting more inspired. Your hands start getting stronger because you've been putting a little bit of work every day to strengthen those muscles, and then each day you can probably go a little bit longer. You can chisel a little bit more, and you're getting more inspired because you're seeing little parts of it really form into what you want, whatever that may be. By the time like months or years have gone by, if you keep this process up, not only have you formed your block, but you can also take a friend's block and start helping them form their block, which is probably what helped you get the ideas and the sparking, because you've been able to be around people who have helped shape and mold you into the person that you are today.
So an example of that would be going to the gym for 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week, but doing it consistently for 5 years, opposed to going to the gym all day, every day for 2 weeks straight and not achieving anything.
Right.
Or reading, like you read every day, you read a certain amount of pages or a certain amount of
I
chapters
educate
each day.
myself in something every day.
Yeah.
Towards what I'm trying to achieve.
And that's a consistent thing, right?
Yes.
Or
yes.
the cold showers or something.
Yes. Yes.
So you might start off with 30-second cold showers for 6 months and then build up. So you're talking about doing something gradual on a consistent basis and then building up until it's just like something solid, something substantial.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I've got pretty much the same way of looking at that. I'll implement something, I'll get it consistent until it's second nature. So it might be, say, fasting. Fasting is something I do every day. I'll do it long enough until it's just automatic.
Yeah.
And then I'll add something else on top of it. Okay, now it's fasting, now it's cold showers. And then I'll add something on top of it again. Okay, it's fasting, it's cold showers, and now I'm reading 2 books a week.
Awesome.
And then I'll just keep building up and up. And before you know it, you've got 20, 30 little solid things that you do each and every day, and it makes you such a just more aware, more knowledge, more healthier. It's life-changing, right? It's very hard to sum it up, but that's kind of a similar way of doing it.
The way that I would sum it up is just be an inch better every day. And if you can do an inch, just an inch more. Like, so it could be as simple as this. Today, say you hit ground zero yesterday, okay? And so today you wake up, what's the first thing you do today? When you get up, the first thing you need to do is just try making your bed. That's it. First thing you do, make your bed. And then if you can make your bed every day, at least when you come home, you have a nice clean bed to go to that's already made, and it just makes you feel a little bit better when you go to bed. You know what I'm saying? Next thing you know, it's just make your bed, and then when you do something, clean up after yourself right away instead of waiting until later. By picking things up, you have a clear environment, and then you'll have a clear mind because your environment's clear. You're not distracted by little small busy work things you have to do. And once you get the nonsense out of the way, where you can start actually putting time and all your energy into things that are going to push your dream or your focus forward, that's when you start getting a lot of those big ideas that actually explode and happen, because you're not distracted by, oh, I tripped over my shoe, or I need to do this, or I didn't sleep long enough, because you've already instilled those little small habits to kind of give you that space to work and dream and grow.
So you can focus more on important things.
Absolutely.
Talk to me about, so obviously 33, you're in great shape. You obviously, fitness, health, training is a huge part of your life. You can tell by just looking at you. Why is that? Where did that come from?
Funny story. So I never really looked at it as like, oh, I want to be like in like amazing shape or anything like that. When I was a kid, my my dad said something to me that literally stuck with me for a long time when I was a child, and not in a bad way.
Yeah.
But he one day he looked at me and I was eating like I think I was eating like a hot dog or a hamburger or something like that. I think I was about 8 years old or 9 years old, and he came up to me and just said, and this is what my family calls me. My family calls me CJ. That's my middle name. So he comes up and he's like, CJ, no more hot dogs no more hot dogs or hamburgers for you. You're starting to get fat. And he just said it. He just said it straight up.
I love that. I love that.
He just said it straight up. He didn't say it to be demeaning.
No.
He didn't say I was a fatso. He didn't say it was ugly. He just said, no more of this junk food. You're starting to get fat.
Like,
and he just told me straight up.
Like real love, right?
My dad has always been harsh. He's military mindset.
I feel like so many people need friends or family like that.
Yeah.
I feel like nobody tells you the truth anymore.
Well, they don't, because people are so sensitive.
So sensitive.
People are so sensitive. They take it like they're the worst. Like, it's like you hear something like that and you're just like, oh my gosh, you just stabbed me through the stomach. It's like, I'm not
on social media.
Yeah.
And they make
and like, how could you say this? My dad said this to me.
And deep down inside they know it's true.
Right.
And they know it needs to be changed. That's why it hurts so much.
Right.
So I sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but that's amazing. I feel like that should happen more often. And it's not fat shaming. It's like,
No.
son, I care about you.
Yeah.
I want you to be healthy, but something needs to change.
Mm-hmm.
So what was it? Did you just go out at the gym that day? Or?
Well, he not only did he say that, but he also gave me outlets. So he started making sure that every day or every season I was involved in some type of sport activity.
Okay.
So I was doing football, basketball, baseball, track. I was doing acting during like dancing and acting and all that kind of stuff. And then I did modeling and all that kind of stuff. And I did stuff at church where we were doing like different kind of movements and like different events, and I'm always active. He always kept me active. He always kept me around people who were active.
So it wasn't just something negative with no outlet or no.
Yeah, he gave me solutions, and that's huge.
Okay.
You know, you can, if that's the difference between taking comments on social media to me and stuff like that, because people will say something negative, but if they don't give any constructive feedback, which is like a solution or a suggestion of how to change this or what they think is a better way of doing something, you know, then you don't want to take that. You don't want to take that to heart, you know.
Yeah, no, that's crazy. And did you just find you just got an itch for like some type of exercise, or it's just one thing led to another?
I had a passion for the energy from football and soccer.
Okay. I
And
played soccer too.
Mm-hmm.
So you did it all.
Yeah. And basketball I didn't really like too much because I feel like people kind of favored people more, you know.
Really?
Yeah. Soccer and football give you a little bit more room to shine if you
Okay.
really just took it for you. I enjoyed sports a lot more when it was just for fun though, because that's when my talents really soared. That's when I got out of my head and really enjoyed it more. And then I started realizing that fitness can inspire people.
Yeah.
And as I started kind of diving more into shaping my own body, I really started with shaping my mind, because to shape your body takes so much more of your mental muscle than it does just lifting weights.
Right.
Yeah, the way that you have to focus, the way that you have to just, you know, stay on your routine and make sure that you're eating the right way. Make sure that you're following a system that's made for you. You know, your body type is different than mine. You might have injuries that I don't. I have to do certain things to warm up that you might not, because we do different goals. We have different goals. Like I do breakdancing kind of stuff. You know, I do things where I'm standing on top of my hands, you know, upside down half the time. So for me, those goals are differently.
Consistency is everything, right?
Yeah.
I totally relate. Training was the best thing ever did to me for my mindset, for consistency, to diet for 4 months for competition, modeling, all that. It's all up here. Mm-hmm. And then when you do business, you're like, oh, this is easy compared to like the fitness route.
Right.
It's the same mindset, isn't it? It translates over, and it kind of goes back and forwards. And then when you start adding the cold showers or the fasting and things into it, it's all the mindset. It's all exactly the same. Gotcha. So do you find because of training, like, are you pretty injury free? Do you not get sick? Do you obviously you function at a high level?
Mm-hmm.
Do you find that?
So there's specific types of training. I mean, you can train. Everybody can like get up and walk and call that training.
Just
right?
quickly stopping you there. Like training can be what you enjoy. That's what I always encourage, right? If you want to go play tennis, play tennis. You don't have to be like a meathead and go to the gym like you and I love to do.
Yeah.
You do what you love to do. You'd be behind that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, keep going.
So for training for me though, to kind of get into a growth mindset, training is a way for me to make sure that I am at a peak level so that I can push my dreams forward. I want to push the meter of my dreams forward 1 inch. So I look at ways to optimize my body, to optimize my mind, to optimize my energy. So the ways that I do that, if I want to keep my body growing strength-wise, I have to avoid injury. And you talk about this a lot, and I do this a lot, and it's cold showers. I do a lot of cold showers. I'll take sometimes 2 cold showers a day. I'll wake up to a cold shower, and if I work out that day, sometimes I'll do a cold shower after that workout.
You just straight after, do you?
Because it helps with the inflammation. It helps with all that kind of stuff.
Let's touch on inflammation quickly. Inflammation is the #1 cause of basically everything. Injuries, joint problems, tendon problems, aging, getting sick is all inflammation. And cold showers is a really good way to bring that inflammation down.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Cold showers not only brings down inflammation, but it also helps with stress. It's not just a physical, thing. It's also a mental, cognitive thing as well. One of the things that I've started practicing in my cold showers, and I've been going longer. I've done like a 15-minute, 20-minute cold shower.
Are you setting the timer on your phone like I
No,
am?
I was listening to a video that I knew how long it
Okay,
was.
gotcha. I've been setting the timer, and I've been picking over the shower curtain lately, and I just put the stopwatch on the same reason, just pushing it a little bit further.
Yeah.
And you get to that 10-minute mark after doing 5 minutes, you're like shivering. You're like, damn, this is hard again.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I've noticed that I don't shiver. Like, I don't get cold anymore. Because I've decided to focus on something else, and I can give you an example. So if any of you are into anime, if you watch cartoons or anything, you probably understand, like, you probably heard of Dragon Ball Z, you probably heard of Naruto. Okay, so Naruto's pretty popular. One of the things that Naruto would do when he was training with one of his senseis, one of his senseis. I've never said it like multiple before, so I'm just like, senseis. So he was training with one of his senseis, and I think it was the one with the white hair and the red paint.
Yeah,
Jiraiya. Jiraiya. Yeah, Sensei Jiraiya. It was like a Jiraiya, and he was under a waterfall. Okay, so Naruto was under the waterfall, and he was just sitting there. And I'm just like, what's so amazing about that training?
Yeah,
you know? Try a cold shower. Because that he only had to go under the cold. That's different. But he had the pressure and all that kind of stuff, and he's meditating and staying focused on one thing in his mind. And one of the things I decided to practice was, I'm not going to sit down in my tub like that, but I decided, what if I start practicing certain like body movements, like doing like Tai Chi or something,
rather than just surviving. You're actually trying to
focus on something specific.
A quick example of that is I'm fine in a cold shower. It doesn't matter how long. If I talk, a whole different story. If I'm trying to have if for some reason I need to talk to you and I'm in the shower, I'm struggling. It's very hard for me to talk.
Really?
If I'm just washing myself, having a shower, I'm good. Good as gold.
Yeah.
As soon as I got to have a conversation, I open my mouth. It's a whole different story.
See, that's the thing too, because like it makes you focus on your breathing. It makes you focus on like just control of your body. And I found out that by breathing, by really like taking time to breathe and control your breath in and out, it slows down your heart rate enough to that you're not aware of the coldness as much anymore. It's
kind of this out of body experience, isn't it?
Yeah, it's so strange.
You're cold, but you're not cold. It's really weird, and you can't have that conversation to anyone who hasn't done it.
Yeah,
because you do a cold shower first time, it's like, this is the worst thing in my life.
You take a cold shower the first 20 times.
Yeah. Honestly, I've been up for 5 years now, and it's still hard, but I embrace the hard, and I love it. And kind of going back to what you said, it's you're trying to think of other things, but it's this back and forth mental game. Like, why am I doing this? I don't have to do this.
Yeah. It's
still a mental game. No one's watching me. Nobody cares. I'm not posting this on social media.
Yeah.
But you're sticking it out and you're mentally pushing yourself because that's the reason behind it. For me, and I'm sure it is for you, but the health benefits are kind of secondary. I feel like it's the mindset. It's the stronger mindset, which is the thing I really like about it.
Mm-hmm.
What's some of the benefits you have personally had from cold? How long have you been doing cold showers?
I've been doing it for 3.5, almost 4 years now.
Okay, so we've been a very similar amount of time. What's some of the main benefits you would say that you had personally?
I would say since I started in cold showers, I've probably only gotten sick twice or 3 times, and it's literally because of this pandemic.
It hasn't actually been a cold or something.
Yeah.
It's been something completely
It's
different.
it's like something I couldn't avoid, and even if I did get it, it wasn't something that was long lived. It was literally like 2 days, 3 days of symptoms, and they were very minimal symptoms because the consistency of doing it, it's like your body just gets thrown into a loop of self-repair a lot faster. So it's almost like everything kind of rejuvenates faster. Like your body's like, oh, what's going on? Like the blood just like has like a shock. There's like a shock to the blood flow of where it needs to go or what's signaling for it. So it's very interesting. Everything opens up and just takes it in, and like when you're doing that a lot, it's kind of like opening your windows of your house and just letting the air flow through it and taking out all the musty smell inside,
And I got to be honest, I talked about this yesterday. I hadn't been sick for 5 years since doing cold showers.
That's awesome.
It's not why I started. I started for mental strength.
Yeah.
But what I found, and I talked about this yesterday, after a month, 2 months, not getting sick, 6 months, you're like, I'm just lucky. 12 months, you're like, well, it might just be a lucky year. After 5 years of not having indication of anything, a runny nose, any type of cold, people in my house dying, and I'm just walking around feeling fine. After 5 years, you start to think, there's some serious truth behind this. And then you got Win Hoffman, who's the Iceman, who I'm sure you're a big fan of. A cold shower a day keeps the doctor away, is he's saying. And after 5 years taking cold shower a day and not physically getting sick at all, I'm like, okay, there's got to be some truth to this.
I think the only time I ever got sick was when I didn't take a cold shower every day. I would only take cold showers, but I would probably go like 2 or 3 days. You know what I'm
you
saying?
had the warm showers in between.
No, I never had any warm showers.
Gotcha.
But I just wouldn't shower for 2 or 3 days. So, yeah, it's been that long since I've had a warm shower. I've always done cold showers, but
that's
yeah.
Awesome. What's some of the other benefits you've had personally? Like, how do your mindset? You feel like you're stronger than ever mentally?
I would say
from cold.
If you can attack a cold shower in the morning, you can attack anything.
100%. And it's kind of like the hardest part of your day, right? The rest of your day seems to get easy from there. Because I always say, no one's holding a gun to your head. No one's making you do it. Nobody cares if you I don't care if you take a cold shower tomorrow. No one else in the world cares if you take a cold shower. But to you, if you can make yourself man up and do it, that's the most important thing, right?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Do you find you recover better? You flush like the acid quicker? Like after training, do you feel like you feel better?
I would say that I work out 6-7 days a week.
And you work out hard, and you run, and you do weights.
And my recovery time, I can run every day, a couple miles a day, and I've done that. I did David Goggins 4x4x48.
Did you really?
And I did that the whole time. I split it into 6 miles at a time, 6 miles every 6 hours, and I was able to go running the next day.
Really?
I went for a light run the next day, and then I kept my soreness was there, but not as long as it should have been if I didn't do cold showers. Like I was able to kind of do like a nice little light thing the next day and keep working out the next week.
You kind of wish you could split yourself in two and do it one way without the cold and just to see the dramatic difference. Because from personally, it's huge. It's absolutely huge.
Yeah, it helps with recovery so much. Tightness of muscles. It helps with just fatigue.
Better sleep.
Yeah.
So, like you said, sometimes I'll do 2 cold showers and I'll have a cold shower before I go to bed, and I have the best night's sleep. It's amazing.
You take out all that stress in the shower. And you just relax when you get out, and you're like, yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah, you just appreciate the little things. What's your diet like? What's your food like?
I would say right now I'm doing a 21-day reset right now, which is organized by a company called Nitro Nutrition. And what they do is they take you through what you can't eat and what you can eat. And with the help of my trainer, Alec Chip. I always say his name wrong. Chiplak or Chiplak,
Sorry, Alec.
something like that. Alec from Fit Club. He's taking me through a strict kind of food regimen where I have to get a certain amount of carbs and proteins every day.
Okay.
So chicken, beef, sweet potatoes, rice.
So you're not vegan, vegetarian, carnivore?
Nothing really specific. I try to eat
stay
more on the
clean.
vegan side because
Okay.
I would like to eliminate more meats and have more
Yeah,
protein,
I'm kinda leaning
protein
that
from
way.
plants
Yeah, I'm leaning
and
that
stuff.
way.
I've been doing a lot of research on
Yeah.
plants and how like amazing their protein is,
and
and
yeah.
then how the cool ways that you can cook it too. Like you can actually cook and season the heck out of plants.
Yeah, kind of going back to the hunters and gatherers type. Yeah, it's all the paleo. Like what was available a couple hundred years ago is probably what we should be eating today.
I mean, it's good to enjoy foods, but we're oversaturating ourselves. If you want to be honest, America is kind of like.
I heard a really good analogy the other day, and it was from David Sinclair, and it was like we're like a cactus in a rainforest.
Yep.
So if you don't understand what I mean by that, a cactus will take water when it can and it will hold it. We're so abundant in food that that's why everyone's fat. 75% of the population is obese or overweight because we're abundant in food, especially living in America. And then the food we're abundant in is so crappy and so processed and so high in sugar, and that's why everyone's so struggling. That's why there's so much diseases, so much inflammation.
The
That's why
food
everyone's
for our
dying so
food
early.
is so high in sugar.
Yeah. The top 3 killers in this country is cancer, diabetes, and heart disease. All caused by diet related, all preventable by diet related. And I'm not saying all cancers, but I think it's like 70-80% of cancers are diet related. And I also heard another statistic yesterday. It was 80 to only 20. So if you've got hereditary problems in your family, you've got like heart disease or some type of thing which is in your family, you're only 20% likely to get it in the next generation. So 80% of it can actually be controlled by exercise, diet, fasting, cold showers, cold therapy. So just because your parents had something or your grandparents had something, don't just automatically assume it's coming down the line. It's preventable up to 80%. Super interesting, right?
Yeah.
And this coming from a scientist from Harvard. I mean, this isn't fluff. This is my opinion. This is fact. It's super interesting.
That's so crazy.
Crazy, right? But
Yeah.
you think, my grandfather died from a heart attack at 60. My dad had stents put in his heart at 62. Here I am at 42 thinking, oh yeah, I've got heart disease on the way. Maybe I don't. And I'm going to make sure I don't. And that's... And I'm just making the conscious choice at my age not to have heart disease when I'm 60 or 70 or 80.
Yeah, same thing in my family. A lot of my family has had diabetes.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, well, I love sugar and I love sweets and
Type
stuff.
2 you're talking about, right? Type 2?
Oh, I'm not sure.
Okay.
I think it's the kind where it's just like a high blood sugar,
But
like
it's come from bad diet. They're not born
bad
with
diet.
that.
Yeah.
Which is
yeah,
totally you can get rid of.
exactly.
100% get rid of. Changing your diet and changing your exercise. So you're definitely not on your way to getting diabetes anytime soon.
No, I'm not eating like that at all. So, yeah, I do love my sugar though.
Well, I do too, and it's in moderation.
Yep.
So for me personally, I fast every day, and then when I want to have crap, I'll go nuts. Like I eat candy, I eat chocolate, I eat ice cream, I'll eat pizza, I'll get Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
But I don't do it every day. I do it in moderation. And when you do it in moderation, when you have it, you appreciate it so much more,
Yeah,
right?
that's true. Yeah.
It's like if you hop on a hot shower, you can be like, oh my God, this is the best hot shower I've ever had. It's the same thing with food, but if you have it all day, every day, it just becomes, you don't appreciate anything.
No, you don't. And you're not getting closer to what you really want. You're allowing yourself to have this temporary satisfaction over and over again, which then reprograms your mind to think that about other things outside of just food.
Talk to me about that, actually, because it's something I'm very passionate about. Everyone's like, it's like instant gratification right now. No one's playing the long game.
No one understands the long game because they're being manipulated by social media and fast-paced ads and fast-paced lifestyles.
Like quick fixes, would
yeah,
you say?
to just patch it up with duct tape or a Band-Aid.
So what's your thoughts on that?
I would say it starts by it's on the person, you know. It would be it's just hard because a lot of this stuff is on us as individuals. We have to actually make sure that we know what it is that we want and why we want it. We need to have something firm enough. I think it's Simon Sinek who wrote the book Start with Why.
Yeah.
And what is your why? Or, finding your why. Sorry. Start with why, finding your why. And all these, he lays it out so clear in the fact that, like, when you have a passionate purpose, when you have a reason for why you're doing something, you have a foundation. That's what I would say. And my foundation is what we started off this whole conversation with, why I'm so positive. It's something that holds you center to who you are as a person. And when you know who you are as a person, you can build on top of that no matter what elements come against that. And when you value that person, you want to do things that makes it has more longevity. Looking at health, looking at mental, looking at your environment, looking at all these things that are tearing you down. From the inside with food, or from the outside with your work environment, with the people that you are close to. People who are spilling into your life, whether they're giving you poison or whether they're giving you life breath. You need to understand that these people are affecting you in some way, positive or negative. It's never really neutral. And if it is neutral, it's more likely it's going to be negative, because if it's not giving you something, you're slowly dying.
Yeah, nothing's really neutral.
Yeah.
There's a saying, those that do not increase, you'll eventually decrease.
Yeah. If you stop walking, you're dying.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? And you're either putting on weight, you're losing weight. You're growing,
Life is a treadmill, not a constant
standstill. 5 closest friends are your biggest influence. Take your 5 closest friends, add their income up, divided by 5 is your income. All these, it's all factual.
Yeah.
The people you hang around, show me your friends, I'll show you your future. All these things go back to your environmental, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the long-term thing, right? Everyone wants this quick. For me personally, I don't want to win the lottery. I want to earn it. I want to go through mistakes. I want to earn it myself. If you said to me you could have the perfect body tomorrow, I don't want it. I want to put the work in, because with that comes the mindset. It comes the ability to apply that to everything else.
Yeah.
How do you kind of get that across to other people that it's okay to not be rich tomorrow? It's okay not to walk around with a 6-pack at 200 pounds. It's more about the journey. I enjoy the journey more than I do the reward. I always have.
A lot of people won't see that if they're coming fresh. A lot of people aren't going to understand it's about the journey, because to them it's not about the journey, it's about the body. It's about getting that body by summer.
But I've been eating McDonald's every day.
Right. While still having the same habits. How can I get hot and still be able to drink every weekend, eat whatever I want? That's what they want. They want a pill. And it sounds easy because it sounds easy. It sounds like, oh, well, what do the Kardashians do? I see them going under the knife. What does this person do? I see them getting Botox. What does this other person do? I see them in the bathroom blowing chunks. You know what I'm saying? It's easier because you see other people doing this. You don't really get to see, like we were talking about earlier, the journey, the struggle, the hard times, the drop sets, the slow days, the painful days of being in a workout routine where it sucks because this is day 36 of 100 and you're tired. You didn't get enough food that day and you still got to keep going.
Back in the day where I used to diet, getting up, prepping food for the day, walking around with lunch boxes, eating brown rice and tuna out of a 110-degree heat car. I've been at the pub with my friends. Everyone's out getting drunk. I'm sitting there not eating or taking my lunchbox to the pub. It's these little sacrifices, but then when you win comps or you get the modeling thing or whatever it is, it outweighs all those sacrifices.
Yeah.
And I like what you said. It's like working out your why, but that why has got to be important enough to you to make the sacrifices, isn't it? Talk to me about that. It's huge, right? I want to be in good shape. Why is that important to you? Is it because you want to live longer? You want to see your kids grow up? You want to, pick up girls? It's really got to outweigh it, doesn't it?
So I got into fitness because apparently, someone said when you're in high school or in college that, if you have muscles, you can attract more women. And that's not true. Took me a long time to figure that out. But what I did find out is that anyone can attract women if you know and have a solid, like framing in who you are, and nothing persuades that. So one of the things that kind of refocused my mind after getting over the fact that women don't like muscles as much as I thought is the fact that, what do I want for me? I realized I was doing a lot of things in my life for other people. I want to be a better person because I wanted people to like me. I wanted to have many skills and talents because I thought that it would attract more people to look at me.
That's interesting.
I wanted to, but that's the thing, I thought I was doing it to be a good person.
Where did that come from?
So the realization came from that when I started understanding how it made me feel when I got validation or didn't get validation in certain things.
Gotcha.
And I realized that when I started pursuing women more for the intention of, having a life partner and really focusing and stuff like that. So as I went through dating various types of women in various types of situations, I'm not saying that I have an amazingly perfect history dating life. Definitely did things and tried things that I shouldn't have been doing and trying. But through those experiences, what I've learned and what I've grown through those mistakes and those trials is that I've learned that, it's really about who you are all the time, not who you can be or who you can fake to be for a period.
Being true to yourself.
Being true to who you are, not to just influence and help other people to feel comfortable around you, but being strong in who you are and what you believe. And being okay if people aren't okay with who you are.
There's a Will Smith quote that I really like. And it's like, if you try to impress everybody, you impress nobody.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always really liked that. You got to understand, no matter what you do, not everybody's going to like you. Not everybody's going to listen to you. Not everybody's going to agree with you. And the sooner you kind of figure that out, the better.
Yeah.
So what I found is I would be big and chunky, and you're too fat, and I'd be shredded. Oh, you're too lean.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're too muscly. You're too skinny. Nobody just minds their own business unless you do you for you.
Yep. You just got to accept who you are and be who you want to be. I'm not saying be someone else. I'm saying you take you and you find those standards and maybe those cool characteristics that you find cool in other people, but then you cater them to yourself. What about you can you mold from that? How can you shift yourself to do that? For me, it was, I want to be healthy. I want to have these activities in my life. I want to have these abilities to be able to speak in front of camera, to be able to have that confidence, to be myself. To give other people encouragement when it's due without keeping it to myself like a shy person. I don't look like a shy person, but I was a wallflower all through middle school, through high school.
I was the same.
I didn't do things to break out, but when people got to know me, when I got real close with people, I was the life of the party, and I wanted to be that life of the party all the time. So I got a huge interruption when I moved from that comfortable pot of dirt that I grew up in and flourished in, and I broke out into the military on my own accord. I decided to join the military as a broadcast journalist, and by putting myself in Vegas where everyone has amazing skill and talent, I was a nobody. I went from a city where I blew up on YouTube and everybody looked at me as a local celebrity to, who are you?
Why should I care?
And why should I care?
Yeah, I can relate. Born in Australia, live in a town of 3,000 people, come to Vegas, there's 2 million people that live here, and you just blend in, you're nobody.
Mm-hmm.
I was in a show, I was I was a performer, I was in a show, but you just blend in. You're just another person over here.
Yeah.
Australia's only got 24 million people in the country. Over here you got 330 million. So it's so insignificant. And then if you go to India, you got 1 billion people. China, you got 1.3 billion people. You start to realize how small and insignificant you are. Mm-hmm. And it's very humbling, but it's very nice.
Mm-hmm.
And it blows my mind, people who don't move from small towns, because they don't really realize how the world really works.
Yeah, especially nowadays, because the world just shrunk a lot.
Yeah.
And very quickly. So it's your backyard is no longer just your backyard. It's not like you can't just post a video or talk about something in your backyard anymore. If you put it on the internet, it's in the world.
Yeah, you can't go.
It's a world voice.
Yeah, you can't say dumb stuff and expect no consequences these days, because it's coming. Gotcha. So cover the fitness, the eating. Do you do fasting?
So I've done intermittent fasting. Sometimes I do that by accident.
I think most people do. Right? What's your thoughts on that?
I would say from the practicing when I practiced it like on purpose, it's really good. It's
So you
I
do
would
like
I would
it?
do a 16 to 18 hour fast.
Okay.
So I used to start, I would say, my fast after 6 p.m.
Yeah.
and then I would go until like 11 or 12 the next
Okay.
day.
It's like 16 8.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah. Even 18. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
So around that kind of frame, I would drink water. Water is okay, but I wouldn't eat anything major until then, and then I would get all my calories that I needed within that time
Yeah.
frame.
In that window.
Yeah, within
And do you
that
do
window.
it now or?
I kind of do it now, but not purposefully. Like if I notice that I miss breakfast, I just turn it into a fast.
Okay. Gotcha. Do you think it's important to do it? For you, it's not so much. Do you find it just you feel good, you're functioning good without having to do that?
I'm right now because I've already put in the practice of a nice healthy lifestyle. I have ways of getting energy and doing that kind of stuff pretty well. Without like having to stick on that because I have certain natural products that I take and stuff like that through this nitro nutrition company that I do. But I would say for anyone who's trying to be supplement free or you're not using anything outside of that because of your budget or something like that, intermittent fasting is a nice, cheap, and affordable way
I
to
gotta agree on the
to
cheap
like
side.
focus and energy. So
And honestly, like I've been lifting weights for 25 years. I've competed. I've done like diet down for shoots. Fasting is just so simple, and it's not. That was honestly the main reason I do it. Is it makes my life so simple. My life used to be dictated around my next meal, and it's saying that okay, I'm going out for 6 hours. I've got 2 meals with me. Now I wake up, I leave the house, and I eat when I eat, and it's. My life has never been easier. I wish I knew about when I was 20. I started when I was 39. I've been doing it for 3 years. I generally fast about 22 and a half hours a day now. I pretty much do OMAD, which is 1 meal a day. It's just, my life's so simple. I'm 226, 230 pounds. I eat once a day, I think. It kind of goes against everything I was brought up to believe.
Yeah.
Or you can't build muscle, you can't get lean, you're going to feel lethargic. So I was just curious on your thoughts on it.
I've heard of people who've actually gone months without food.
Yeah,
in
everybody.
California. I've heard of people in California who've done that in some types of groups or whatever that they practice this, where they eat air or something like
People
that.
don't realize you've got at least 40 days of fat on you. Even you, like, you get down to 7-8%, you still got 40 days of fat on your body.
Yeah.
You're still good for 40 days. Water's a little different, but everyone's got so many calories and so much vitamins and minerals built into that fat on the tummy. That's what it is. It's feeding and fasting. And like Terry Crews, we all love Terry Crews. I think he does OMAD. He does 1 meal a day. Look at that boy. Like, he's huge. He looks so awesome.
Yeah.
Anything else you kind of want to touch on? Anything else? You got your mindset?
Yeah. Actually, I do. When it comes to one of the things that I'm really big about is finding your voice. As a person, we all have a story, and we all have something that we'd like to share, or we all have something we'd like to learn. And I think it's very important that you take that time to find that voice that you have and how you can share that, because I think there's someone out there, just like how you're listening to us right now, who would love to hear your story and relate to your situation, because you can bring so much light and you can bring so much value to that person. So that's one of the things I'm all about. It's not about, being all showy and having an amazing presence on camera, but being able to express yourself, to be able to just connect with another person, real life or on social media. I think it's really important that you take that time for yourself and make sure that you know who you are and who you're becoming. Because if you don't take the time to understand and love yourself, why should anyone else?
I like that. And I feel like the mistake a lot of people make is they're trying to connect and they're trying to reach 1 million people. If you change one person's life, it's amazing, right?
Yeah.
It's all it's got to be. One person is... I had one friend I helped out with a bit of fasting. He dropped 270 pounds.
Wow.
Totally changed his life.
Wow.
I mean, that to me, if that's all you
That's
accomplish,
insane.
I mean, if that's all you accomplish, like how worthwhile is that? That's
Yeah.
amazing, right?
Yeah.
Like every now and then I'll get stopped on the street and somebody will know me by name and they say, "Oh, I watched your video. I put in to practice what you teach, or I'm trying to put in practice with what you teach." And it's so rewarding. It's just one person. And people don't realize they see like 5 views on a video. That's 5 human beings. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It could be a single mother. It could be someone trying to lose weight. It could be someone procrastinating about starting a business. It's still one human being, right? You gotta remember that one view is still one real person. I just want one more thing. I want to touch you with that is procrastination and caring about other people's opinions and not starting businesses and worried about failing. Talk to me your opinion on that.
Oh, I can give you
like
some
that's
failures.
huge.
I can give you some failures if you want some failures.
I feel like when we go to school and we're taught not color outside the lines, don't ask questions, don't make mistakes, everything's got to be flawed. Life's not like that, and it shouldn't be like that. And you don't grow and you don't learn by being like that.
One of the biggest things that kind of I've been taking to heart a lot more recently, and I've heard this quote a long time ago by Will Smith, was fail fast, fail forward.
I love that.
Fail forward, fail fast. As fast as you can, as but make sure you're going forward. And Denzel Washington also said that as well, in the sense of failing, like fall forward if you got to fall at all. And even Les Brown even said that, if you fall on your back, so you can look up, so you can get up.
I like that.
So they're all talking about falling and failing, and it's gonna happen. I don't know anyone who's been successful who didn't fail. And
they haven't.
Yeah, right. The only people who are successful who didn't fail had it handed to them, because they were born into a legacy.
And they're still probably gonna fail.
Right.
That's what I love about reading business books is every big business is nearly not been there. They've made major mistakes, and they've just been lucky enough, or they've worked hard enough to pivot. And even though they're present today, it doesn't mean you're going to be present in the future.
Yeah.
Everybody's failing all the time. Coca-Cola changed their product to New Coke. You ever heard that story?
No.
There was a New Coke at one point. Their company nearly went under by changing the formula. They had something which was working amazing. They changed it to New Coke.
Wow.
Everyone's up in arms. They changed it back immediately. It cost them a lot of money, did a lot of damage, but they were lucky to survive. That could have put them under.
That's true.
People don't realize this stuff. How do you get past procrastination? How do you just take action?
So for me personally, I would say that you want to set yourself up with bite-sized chunks. If you look at the whole elephant, you're not going to approach the elephant. But if you look at the elephant as like a pile of tiny little pebbles, like if you just somehow were able to dissect that elephant, it's not alive or whatever like that, for those who are humane. And you have a whole bunch of little pebbles on the ground, and you have to pick up one little pebble and put it over here into another spot 3 feet away, instead of moving the entire elephant 3 feet. Yeah, it's a lot of little minuscule tasks, but it's doable, right? You can move one. If you can move one, you can move all of them. It just takes time. So instead of trying to figure out how to move that giant elephant in one bite, try to figure out how you can break it down into tiny little steps and spread it out over time so that it's doable, so that you don't burn out. A lot of us, we start getting stuck in our heads because we think, oh, I have to get all this stuff done when I have a full slot of time, right? And you never seem to have a full slot of time because all these things pop up that pull you away. So it's hard for you to even make time for this big thing that you want to get done. So you keep putting it off. That's why I'm saying you got to break it up into these little pieces. If you can take little pieces and throw it, like when you're on the toilet, when you're in the car, when you are walking the dog, you're downloading a little bit of a book through listening. You are making a couple connections while you're sitting on the phone instead of scrolling through memes. Use your time to what you have in your own situation. Be honest with yourself. Call yourself what you need to call yourself, like how my dad called me fat when he knew and saw that I was fat. I knew that I was fat, but I didn't know as a child how to become unfat. My dad did. And it's his job as a parent to help me get to where I need to be. So you have to do that for yourself because you're an adult. or you are a conscious person watching this. So you have to make that choice for yourself that I'm going to look myself in the mirror, realize what it is that I'm doing right now, and then take those actions that I need to do so I can make the result happen. Make the result happen.
And there's nothing wrong with failing, is there?
No.
Is it? Like,
No.
I cannot stress that enough. It's okay to fail. Failing's only failing when you give up.
Failing is only failing. I'm going to say that again. When you give up. Because when you stop, nothing happens after that. But if you get up, what are you starting with? You're starting with experience, right? And you know what not to do because you know that doesn't work.
Yeah, if you repeat this, what is that saying? If you keep making the same mistake
over and over again, that's called being insane.
Yeah, more for you. But if you make a mistake and you learn from it and you grow, and perfection is paralysis. You can perfect everything all you want, but you learn more by starting.
Mm-hmm.
You learn more by walking in the gym and starting an exercise and doing it wrong than you do sitting at home and trying to watch all these YouTube videos. Mm-hmm. Go to the gym and they're like, okay, now I'm going to go home and watch those YouTube videos. Mm-hmm. And the way I cut and tackle things is I do 50% learning, 50% applying. So whether that's right now I'm learning about longevity supplements. I'm just researching the hell out of that. But I'll do 50% learning, 50% applying. Fasting, same thing. Business, same thing. Video editing, whatever it is for a skill or any type of thing I want to learn, 50% learning and then go out and practice it. Because there's no point knowing something unless you apply it. There's no point applying something if you don't know what you're doing either.
Yeah.
It's this fine line. But you can't care what your parents think. You can't care what your friends think. You got to do you for you because it's your life. You get one of them and you got to kind of... The only thing, like Gary Vee says, the only thing you got when you're old is regret. Mm. It's those things you didn't do. It's those things you didn't try. Like, do you care about so-and-so's opinion when you're 20 years old now?
No.
Not at all, right?
I don't even know who that person is or what they're doing.
Even a girlfriend at the time or whatever it is, right? The only thing
it's crazy, though. It's crazy.
It's really weird thought. The only thing you care about at 20 is something you said no to or something you didn't try. And now, like your age, at my age, I'm like, the only thing you really got is like, I wish I said yes to that. I wish I tried that sooner. So now I'm yes to everything. I try everything. If I fail, so be it.
Decisions over opinions. Decisions over opinions. Making a choice leads down a road. Having someone's opinion, like that just stops you. You know, that stops you from making a choice. You need to understand that, like, being, like you said, like perfectionism, you need to understand that, like, holding off from starting an idea or launching that idea because you're working on it, you need to know more, you need to be better at it. That's holding up your process, your journey of real success, of or faster success, and gaining experience. You need to just jump in and learn to swim. That's what life is. I understand, like, you're probably looking at it as jumping out of a plane without a parachute.
It's scary.
Yeah,
it is scary.
But more look at it as jumping in water and not knowing how to swim. Because one, you're not me with all this muscle and stuff, and you're most likely not going to sink. I sink, but you're gonna float if you just calm down. The first thing to do is to calm down. Stop moving. Stop thrashing about. Right. Because that's what you want to do. You want to panic and freak out and think that your life's over because you lost your job or whatever. So you calm down, you assess the situation, you realize that you have a little bit of buoyancy, that you're floating a little bit. What's the next step? Movement. Which direction do you want to go? Can you breathe? Yes, you can breathe. Everything's all right. So you start moving. You start trying this thing. You wiggle a little bit this way. That doesn't really do anything. You move your leg. Oh, wow, you got some propulsion going. And then you start moving your arms to kind of give you direction. Next thing you know, you understand the basics of swimming just by jumping in. And you realize that you have this, which we all have, a mind that can learn, that can adapt, that can change, that can grow at any age. And you now have the keys to your future, whatever type of vehicle you want that to be.
Well said. I like that. Yeah, there's a saying, if you're waiting for the perfect iPhone, you'll still be waiting for an iPhone. Waiting for the perfect car, we'll still be waiting for cars. You learn more by starting, you learn more by failing. You just pivot, you change, you adapt, and you keep pushing forwards and you keep moving forwards.
Yeah.
And honestly, nobody cares. Everyone's so worried about what you think of them. No one really cares what they think of you.
Mm-hmm.
It's so weird. You walk in the gym, oh, everyone's looking at me. No one's looking at you. I'm going to start a business. I'm not going to post. Nobody cares. Just do you for you. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Thank you so much for your time, man. That was
Yeah,
awesome.
absolutely.
I feel like I learned a lot more about you. Got a lot more deeper. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Cool. All right. See you guys. Bye.